I'm live. Test. Alright. I'll quit thumping the microphone now. Sorry about that. Alright. I've got some inking to do, and I thought you guys might want to look while I'm at it. Hey, Glenn. I am inking stuff from Rob Norton's parody comic. I'm not sure what the title is. We have like a tentative title, but I don't know how he's referring to it. But there were some scenes in it that were relatively safe because this story does feature some nudity and stuff in there, and uh, so I printed safe panels out, and then I'm gonna scan them and put them back in digitally later on their proper pages amongst panels that I can't show on YouTube. Oh, cool. Right on. But then you know that some of that stuff is not YouTube friendly. I'm doing as I normally do and starting whenever I can with like stuff that I consider safe to ink. Stuff like trees are very organic, and if you just use one thickness of line like I'm doing here, it stays very clean. You don't want to draw a lot of attention to them. So if you don't have a lot of variation in line and they're not particularly interesting to look at, unless the tree is supposed to be featured, that's probably a good thing. So it's one of those things you can kind of do, and once you've done trees a little bit, you've got some interpretation and stuff that you can do, and it's not the end of the world. Most artists are not gonna freak out because you changed their tree. You changed the tree. And plus, it's Rob. I've worked with him for a little while now, and he trusts my judgment. These things most of the time. He's doing a real nice job with this story. And in case you're wondering what I'm inking with here, this is a Kuretaka number 7, I think it is. I've got a Kuretaka 7 and a Kuretaka 8. I think that's the 8 right here. This is more of a kind of a felt tip pen kind of thing. And this is an actual brush. Let me get to a spot where you see that kind of. There we go. Yeah. So you can get a nice fine line with that. Let me. Come on. There we go. That's what I want you to do. All right. Now that I'm done playing with the camera. But yeah, this number 7 takes the place for me anyway of most of my fine liners, pit pens, stuff like that, because it does have a I mean, it's got a pretty wide range. Everything from a nice bold line like that to thinner ones. Inking stuff analog is always a bit of an adjustment when I go back to it. I'm so used to being able to flip with just a keystroke to make this backwards and make some lines easier to throw. And of course, when you're working digitally, you don't have to worry about wet ink laying around on your page or anything like that. You just move wherever you want to move. Hey, there's D-Man. What's going on? I've got some safe for YouTube stuff printed out of Rob's and decided to spend a little time throwing some ink this evening. Yeah, he did have a couple of safe pages here where it had panels that didn't have stuff going on and can't show on YouTube. So I just printed out appropriate panels to ink here, scan them back in, and put them where they need to be when I've got them finished. Oh, I don't know. I don't know how wildlife help would take that. Ooh, I should have inked all these trees with the brush. Much more interesting line. How difficult is it working on the smaller paper? Um, it's really not, because these panels are printed out the same size that they would be on board. It's just a smaller page. If anything, it's a little easier because like you don't have a whole nother half up here that might have wet ink going on. So it's a little more convenient to just kind of flip around, and it happens to stay in camera real well. Um, and since I've got a scanner to scan the job and put it back into the computer digitally, I can put it back in and touch up however I like. It's almost like you get two chances at inking it. I am a little quicker um, on paper than I am digitally, which is weird. Most people are like exactly the opposite. But I just have so many things I can play with and tools that I want to use and things like this digitally. This is a little more straightforward. I don't have so many bells and whistles to work with, which is good in a way because that way you don't get distracted. All this crap you could do with it, you just get the meat and potatoes of it. Mhm. Inking over blue lines less messy than graphite pencils. Yeah, it is less messy in terms of getting stuff on your hand. Although it's a little easier to see, so a lot of times I'll go over it. I've got a what they call a dry clean pad that you can order from. You can get it on the Amazon or the Joe Kubert store. It's basically like a baby sock full of eraser crumbs, and you run that over your drawing real lightly, and it lightens it up just a little bit. And I was very typically I would take and use that to lighten up the pencils anyway, or a kneaded eraser. I would roll a kneaded eraser over the top of it because if not, a lot of pencilers will use lead that's very soft because for them it just glides over the page. Um, and they like the way it feels in the tooth of the paper and stuff. Inkers, on the other hand, usually want nice smooth paper, and because they're trying to get more precise stuff. Pencilers can get away with stuff that inkers cannot. You caught yourself trying to zoom in on that paper. Well, I do. I on this paper. I lean in there to see it closer, especially at my age with my shitty eyesight. And they're like, geez, how do you ink with bad eyesight? And I'm like, Your hand knows what to do. And part of inking sometimes is actually fuzzing your eyes out a little bit to make sure that the grays that you're putting down work right. You should be able to basically kind of take this out of focus. Like if we take this out of focus, right? See how that just becomes gray values there? All the lines start to translate to shaded gray areas. That's the effect we want. Now go back to focus. Come on. You can do it. There it is. See? That's kind of the effect that we're looking for. We want to so that way when it shrinks down, it still keeps the values that you want. And things like this. Basically, that's what you're trying to do. Is you're trying to give it that side of the pencil kind of shaded effect, but you're using lines to create the values because you don't have the benefit of using the side of the pencil to do it. Back in the old days, that wouldn't print. That's the whole reason why they had people doing this at all. Mm. Hey, Ginger Bear House. What's going on, sir? How are you? Doing some drawing since your internet work dropped while you were working remote. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. iffy internet. I get that sometimes. All right. 30 minutes into this thing already. You know what? That's not giving me the line I want. So we're gonna go with the loose brush. You're working on stuff from your Legends series? Cool. Yeah. Character's almost 30 years old. Yeah. That could be good or bad, depending. It's just sort of the nature of the beast there. My dog's trying to get my attention. Hi, Marvin. How you doing, buddy? Loosely inspired by Battle Chasers. Yeah, Battle Chasers was very popular with people. Never read it myself because I was busy working. Not much time to read and enjoy comics sometimes when you're a working professional. Especially as an inker, you really don't need a copy of the script. Just trying to enhance what's already drawn there and get that ready to go. So, copy of the script's real optional for an inker. Okay, well, I guess I'm gonna wrap up this stream for tonight. Been on for about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that. You get to the point where there's a lot of wet ink and stuff going on this page. So I'm gonna set it aside for now. I appreciate y'all joining me tonight. Get a little sleep and tackle some digital parts in the morning. So anyway, I sure appreciate you. Thanks again for stopping by, and we'll see you next time. Bye.